Now starting the XR AI Innovators Panel featuring Ori Inbar, co-founder at Super Ventures, AWE, and United XR Europe, Namrata Shajwani, XR designer, graphic designer, and visual storyteller, and finally is Deepak Nair, developer advocate at Meta for Horizon World.
All right, folks. Thank you for joining the XR AI Innovators Panel. It's so good to see you. Thank you, Danny, for inviting me. I have an important message to share with you. My name is Ori Inbar, and since I got into XR back in 2007, starting the first AR blog, co-founding the first AR startups, the first AR conference, the XR fund, and over 2 decades of mentoring hundreds of XR companies, I've been championing the idea that XR will shape our future. Well, today, I have a new message. XR is not the future. XR is the present. XR hardware is widely available, tools have matured, and AI reduced a lot of the hard work. It's not perfect. So what? XR is good enough. You can quote me on that. And it's ready for almost any use case. And this year, for the first time, I feel I can say this. XR is going mainstream. I even put it on my shirt. I know there's fear in the air. There's a dark horse stealing the attention and investments from XR, but it's the best thing that's happened to XR. XR will harness it and ride it straight into the mainstream. We all know AI makes XR better, faster, and cheaper. It improves computer vision algorithms. It helps make sense of the real world for XR applications. And Gen AI makes 3D content generation a breeze. But on the flip side, AI needs XR even more. Some call it AR for the real world or physical AI. We call it the AI love XR imperative. Because what happened is that AI ingested all the internet's content to train its models, but now it's running out of new content. It needs real world data to keep getting smarter and useful and grounded in reality. And XR delivers exactly that. It arms AI with human senses, sight, hearing, touch, to access the physical world. Of course, that opens a whole can of worms of privacy concerns, but what everyone needs to understand at this point is that AI needs XR. In fact, there's no AI without XR, and we should all scream it from the mountaintops. It must not be ignored by investors, brands, or big tech. And recently, it's becoming impossible to ignore. Yann LeCun, one of the godfathers of AI now at Meta, said a few months ago that AI should learn by watching the world, not reading the internet. It needs to understand reality. And Andreessen Horowitz, probably one of the most influential investors in the world, is bullish about XR, and they claim it's among the most underrated markets. In their 2025 report, they say that XR devices are widely available now, and they see increased developer activity in spatial computing platforms, especially in verticals that involve a lot of physical world data. So yeah, XR is going mainstream. And I know many industry veterans might be thinking right now, wait, what? We don't feel mainstream. We're still struggling to grow our businesses. I hear you, my friends. I mean, budgets are still tight, but going mainstream doesn't mean that we're all flush. It means we are in a new stage, and it needs a new mindset. As the saying goes, greatness is built in hard times, and today's conditions are ideal for bold moves, especially when AI is combined with XR. AI loves XR, and that's how we keep humans at the center. That's how XR goes mainstream. Thank you. Now I guess we're ready for questions.
The talk, I think that was amazing, brief introduction of like AI and XR. I really like the quote that you stated, which is AI needs to learn by looking at the world and not reading off the internet. How would you say, how do people or companies make that achievable? What would the model look like if that were to happen?
Yeah, so when we say, that AI needs XR, it's really we all need to use XR more in our lives, in our work, when we play, when we have fun. And we could do it today, even with your smartphone, using AR applications. You can do it with your XR headset, VR or AR headsets, mixed reality headsets. So all that data that we kind of absorb through the camera, through the microphones, and also through our kind of gesture interaction, can be used to train AI models in the back. And again, I mean, that's a whole massive can of worms of privacy issues. But I think if we take care of that in some way, then all this data can be useful to train these AI models so that, it can help us learn about the world, how to do things, how to, operate things in our workplace, or even, when we play, just to make things a lot more fun and more interesting using AI for those experiences.
Got it. Thank you.
Corey, what would you say to so I'm newer in this space, right? So how do you see adoption happening with older generations or people that are not as digitally native getting into this space? What do you think is that key product or key hook? Or do you think, like you've always said, and I agree with you, it's already mainstream?
Listen, I mean, when we say it's mainstream, it's really entering the mainstream, right? The typical kind of mark that analysts say, a technology is hitting the mainstream is when it's used by more than 25% of the population. And if you look at VR and also mobile AR, it's actually past that mark. So we're definitely entering it. Is everyone using it right now? Of course not, and definitely not all the time. So there's still a long way to go. And I think the main thing that will get us there, I mean, beside of course AI, like I said, is content that is relevant for all aspects of life for all people on the planet, right? So kind of the other message that I've been pushing this year is that we need master builders, people that know a certain domain, a certain use case, a certain passion so well, even if they're not technical, even if they're not, XR professionals. If they know that world well enough, they can create experiences that are irresistible to these users. And you could think initially, oh, these are niches, but that's how you capture the mainstream. You go niche by niche, and make those experiences so great for those users that they would buy those headsets. Even if they've never tried VR, but they know that's the only way for them to experience this, they will do it. Especially if their peers will tell them, hey, there's so many great examples of master builders. There's Danny Lutz, who was a remote control airplane enthusiast, and he created a simulator for the Meta Quest. And people are buying the Meta Quest just for that, just because they like remote control airplanes, and they don't always can go out and play with, or maybe they haven't even bought an airplane because they don't have the confidence. So they use the sim. They buy the Meta Quest just for that sim. They train on it, and then they get the confidence to go and buy their first airplane and go out there and fly it. So I think that's an amazing experience. How many remote airplane enthusiasts you have in the world? Quite a bit. Dennis said he got like 50,000 downloads in a matter of weeks. That's a significant return on your investment and a great way to kind of capture a community. And we're already seeing, I think, hundreds of examples like that of builders that, again, know their audience so well that they create experiences, even sometimes for the first time. Another example is a guy from Prague, which is a huge Formula One fan. And if you're a Formula One fan, you know that you have these kind of special TV channels that you can actually purchase. You can buy it by paying quite a bit every month just to see all these different screens. You can see how it looks from every driver perspective, on all the cameras around the track, and on TV, all you can do is just switch channels, or camera views. But he said, there must be a better way. He has never done anything in his life in spatial computing or XR. But for that, he actually put together a team and built an experience that allows you to kind of see the whole track, in AR on your table, and then also be able to switch views from, different drivers just by looking at it, spatially. And again, a lot of people, even he did it first for the Apple Vision Pro, and people bought the $3,500 headset just for that experience because they were super fans, and that was the only way to experience it. So I think in short, the way to really drive adoption is to create content that is relevant to someone in a way that they cannot resist it. And and then of course hardware will get better. It'll be easy. More people will know it, and then it will continue kind of this virtuous cycle to get to everyone out there.
That's so funny. I'm into F1, so I thought about getting the Vision Pro for that app.
There you go.
But it makes sense. You're like connecting the master builder with an influencer. Sometimes they're the same person, but like I like it because then you're going after different demos.
That's right. That's a good point.
Or tell me, like, what do you, speaking of the F1 app, right? What do you think is like the killer app on XR to you?
So you know what? That's exactly the point, that the killer app is the platform, is just kind of the different devices we have out there, the capability of running these experiences. So my message, this whole year has been, stop looking for the killer app. It's every niche, every audience, every passion has its own killer app, and that's what you should focus on. I think kind of as a general answer, it's when it comes to AR, it's things that relate to the real world, right? So, if you just create something that kind of pops up in front of you and has nothing to do with the world, why do it in AR? What's the point? Maybe VR is better for that, or maybe even a smartphone experience would do the trick, right? So I think it has to be something that happens around you, in your room, outside, outdoors, at work, wherever you use that experience, and that's when the added value is the biggest, and would drive the widest adoption.
Nice. Or you have an incoming question.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
Where do you see AR, XR being used in businesses?
Where do you see AR and XR being used in business right now?
All right. So first of all, if you look at the entire XR market right now, it's about a $30 billion market. And just as reference, it's as big as the global film industry. It's a pretty significant market. That's one. Now, if you look at the split between where it's spent, the money spent on within the enterprise in B2B kind of versus consumer, enterprise is actually 70% of that 30 billion. So most of what's happening right now is in the enterprise. That's first. And if you talk to enterprises that have adopted either AR or VR or XR, you'll see that a lot of them have moved away from the original pilot projects. They're now starting to look at how to scale it across the enterprise for all their employees. So we're definitely at a different stage than we were just a few years ago. Now, what are the top use cases? I think it's probably clear to say that training and simulation right now is the #1 use case. You see it in every single industry out there, and it's just the ROI is so clear and so tremendous that I don't think people can basically say no to it. I mean, if you compare it with regular training, the reduction of travel, the better engagement, better retention of knowledge, all that stuff is like 100 times better than traditional training. So you see that being adopted everywhere. The second thing that is a very close one, and I think soon will even become bigger, is what we probably all heard of as the digital twin. It's a concept that's been around for maybe a decade, but now it's starting to really come all together. And it's not one thing. It's really a collection of things starting with reality capture. So the ability to, go to a factory or go to some facility, or maybe outdoors, some landscape or some environment, like an urban environment, and be able to scan it in an accurate way. It could be with LiDAR scanners, with aerial photos, photogrammetry, Gaussian splats, whatever technique you want to use. Sometimes people use, $100,000 scanner devices, or they can use a smartphone with a camera. It doesn't matter. But all these tools help recreate the world in 3D. And once you have that, it's cool, but it's not enough. Then you have to match it with data. So, some of it may be done kind of manually, you annotate things. But the best part starts with when you connect it with real world sensors. So that's where an IoT come into place, the Internet of Things, which again has been developed in enterprises for at least the last decade. And now it turns out that the best use for this technology is within the context of a digital twin. So you see basically a 3D model of your facility, of your factory, of your building, and it's in 3D. So you can look at it from different angles. You can have a whole team look at it with headsets or with smartphones or whatever device you have, and be able to collaborate, whether you're in the same room or not, and see data in real time. And we've heard some examples from huge companies, like ExxonMobil. They now have a mandate to deploy digital twins in every single asset they have around the world. You can think about, we're talking about thousands of locations around the world, everywhere you can think of. It's just incredible because, again, the return here is so tremendous. And one of the examples that they give is that, you look at a photos or maybe models of a certain machine or factory, and many people look at it on a 2D screen. Okay, they don't always find the problem or the issue, and the moment you put them inside VR, inside the kind of that digital twin, instantly they recognize the problems and are able to fix it. So, I mean, this kind of move from 2D to 3D for digital twins, and by connecting it to real world sensors, is probably gonna displace training as the #1 use case. And I think it's gonna be probably the #1 thing that enterprises do in the next probably decade. And then, there's a whole slew of other use cases, from using AR for remote maintenance, which again has been used even as far as 10 years ago with the Google Glass, that we all thought was a flop, but actually it enjoyed a pretty productive life in the enterprise for remote assistance, for maintenance use cases, and so on. And again, when you go to every single vertical, you'll see AR and VR being used in numerous use cases, and it's only kind of scaling and growing more and more as we see it happening.
That's it. If you get a round of applause for the XR innovators.
Thank you, Namrata and Deepak. Good to see you, and Danny. Thanks again. Thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Want to check out more from the AWE Nite Orlando Immersive Intelligence Lab? Watch more talks and presentations from our incredible XR plus AI innovators.
Nite Orlando.